Fixing learning and hide all your bugs. So ridiculous. Don't be scared of me. I just want to eat your organs. Keep running. I can sense you're getting tired already. Give this fox a kiss.
Hey all, Kate here from the Emerald Minecart, and yeah, as you can see, have some more props in this surprisingly large elevator that seems to be infinitely going down to, it's supposed to be going down to that underground pizzeria, but I've been in this elevator for like a couple weeks, but hey, you know, at least like this mysterious mini fridge in this place has like a surprisingly large amount of space in it, and also a unlimited food source that just constantly regenerates every night. So, you know, I can't really complain that much. I honestly kind of like it here. It's nice. It's spacious. It's quiet. It's, I don't know. It just feels like a second home, honestly. Okay, but yeah, anyways, today I'm going to be talking about the 2007 horror comedy movie, Teeth. Now, this movie is, it's quite bizarre, and honestly, I didn't even think I'd be able to talk about it considering some of the shit that's even shown in this movie. Now, to avoid a copyright claim or copyright strike, and also I don't even want to show some of the clips from this movie in fear of this video getting age restricted or worse, a strike. Yeah, I'm really only going to be showing pictures of the movie, and I'm going to be describing what has happened. And for me to see these clips, I am currently watching someone else's review of this horror comedy movie, which was actually the review that was basically the reason I know about this horror movie. So a link to the reviewer's video will be in the description below. So yeah, and also this horror movie is actually technically based off of a true event. Now, before I explain that, I need to explain the reason why this movie is somewhat infamous. Well, this movie is infamous because the main character, which is a girl, happens to have let's just say her area happens to have teeth. And I did not make that up. Because what this is based off of, apparently, like, the director of this film, he went somewhere and apparently, like, from some person, like, he discovered this myth called vagina denta or something. I don't know. Okay, I'm also going to have a link to the article in the description below if you want to read it yourself. But yeah, this movie is well, it exists, and it's going to be 20 years old in a few years. Okay, not a few years. Wait, okay, it's almost 2024. Okay, it's like 4 to 3 years later, that movie's gonna be 20 years old. So, yeah. So, anyways, let's get into the review, shall we? So we first see that two people who divorced in separate relationships have got together and they brought their kids. But as we can see, their kids, on one side being a boy and on the other side being a girl, they don't really seem to like each other. Specifically, the boy doesn't seem to accept the girl as his sister. And, okay, he goes to touch the girl's area. I don't really like saying this because I don't like describing that type of stuff. But then after that, we hear him yell in pain. The parents go check, and we see that the boy has been bitten on the finger. Now, at first, you would think, oh, it's just the little girl who bit him on the finger. Well, considering what it gets revealed later on in this movie, yeah, that's not really the case. And, yeah, that's not the only, fucked up thing in this movie. So, you know, there's that. So prepare to be strapped in because this movie gets, yeah, this movie gets a lot more fucked up. So, so after that, we then get a time skip where our main character, the little girl who is named Dawn, is a high schooler, and honestly, we see that she has it pretty good for herself. And also, we get to see that her stepfather, the son of the boy who was bitten, which the boy is named Brad, we see that he's actually a nice person. Unlike Brad, who is a complete jerk. And of course, that makes him the main villain of this movie. That's really all I got to say for that. So, after we get to see how much of a jerk Brad is, we get to see Dawn go to a health class. Yeah, I think it's a health class where they learn about, like, the body parts, and there's, like, specifically the groin area. And they just finished talking about the male groin area when they get to the female one. But then something we see is that in the textbooks, the one for the female groin is censored by a giant golden star. Now this is weird because the male one isn't censored, but the female one is. Now, again, because of what gets revealed in this movie, yeah, there's a reason that gold star is there. And obviously this leaves our main character confused because it's like, why would they just cover that up? Aren't we supposed to learn about this stuff? But obviously this is for mostly, this mostly seems to be a way of obviously like hiding it from the audience so they don't figure it out. Because again, like with the boy being bitten, we're supposed to believe that, oh, it's just her normal mouth and not her, you know what I'm trying to say. Look, I'm trying to make sure this video doesn't get age restricted or I don't get deleted from YouTube, so, you know, I'm trying to make sure this video doesn't get age restricted. Or worse, I get a strike on this channel because of the video. So, yeah. Again, there's a whole reason I'm showing this. Okay, let's just move on, shall we? A little later, Dawn and some friends happen to be at some lake, and she is seeming to have a little problems, and she calls one of her friends, which happens to be Toby. Now, we do get to see hints that, like, she happens to like Toby, and when he arrives, they go back in the water, They then go into this cave, and Toby is wanting to have fun times with her, but obviously Dawn doesn't want this. But then Toby accidentally knocks out Dawn, and Toby proceeds to take advantage of the knocked out Dawn. So, yeah. But don't worry. This doesn't last, because once Dawn wakes up, the teeth inside her crotch take action, and, well, to do a live recreation, okay, it doesn't eat the thing, but it does bite it off and spit it out. And obviously, I'm not going to show that shit, because again, I would like to still have a YouTube channel. I would like this video to not be age restricted, so, so yeah, obviously, Toby is horrified, so is Dawn, and Toby runs off. And, yeah, and actually somewhat later, somewhat later in the movie, Dawn actually goes back to the cave, and we see a crab eating this detached wiener. So, yeah, it's not pleasant. And again, there's a reason I'm not showing any video clips of it, even if I would have to do a lot of censoring. So, yeah, again, this is the main reason why this movie is, a bit infamous. Huh, only good. So after leaving after she leaves the cave she revisited, she decides to look up her condition, which is called vagina dentata, which means toothed vagina. So, yeah, that's a word that came out of my mouth. So yeah, she proceeds to see a gynecologist about this, and we also see that the gynecologist also seems to be somewhat of a slime ball. So he does the thing that gynecologists do, and okay, look, if you don't know what a gynecologist is, just look it up. I'm not going to explain it to you, because honestly, it's gross, and also I just don't feel like explaining it. So yeah, so after he moves his hand around, then the same thing that happened to Toby's wiener happens to this guy's hand. And when she pulls out, we see that, what the fuck? Did that motherfucker put his entire hand in there? Oh my. Here's the hope that, this doesn't get me, an age restriction, or worse, a strike. Holy fuck. But yeah, after that, she runs out while the guy yells out vagina dentata. Look, I'm only going to be able to pronounce that correctly once, okay? Don't blame me. So, yeah. So, after she proceeds to get back home, we see that Dawn's mother has passed out from something, and she takes her to the hospital, and we also see that Brad's dad is trying to kick Brad out, but Brad isn't having any of it, and he has his dog somewhat attack his dad. It doesn't kill him, it just slightly injures him, and he ends up being kicked out of the house. So after all of this, Dawn proceeds to go to a friend named Ryan and proceeds to tell him about her problems that are a lot worse than a period. And strangely enough, Ryan seems to be calm about it, which I don't know, man. Look, if I discovered that someone I was friends with had a live set of chompers in their crotch that activates randomly, yeah, I would think I'd be able to be calm about that. I would probably be, first of all, freaking out, second of all, apologizing for freaking out, and then third of all, recommending that friend goes on America's Got Talent, because look, it wouldn't be able to be shown on live TV, but like, come on, if you could open a beer bottle with that ability, then that's impressive. But yeah, getting back on topic. So yeah, thankfully Ryan seems to be nice at first. He mostly lets her like take a bath, and he gives her like some medicine to like help her stress out a bit. And while this is going on, he also proceeds to set up his bed for sex. Now, people watching the movie might think, oh, great, he's going to get his dick bitten off, isn't he? Not yet. So basically, the two have schmecks, but as we see, apparently this time it's consensual, and because of that, the teeth in her region won't activate. So it seems to be like it seems to be all good, despite the fact that the character is underage. Yeah, did I forget to mention that this character is underage? Yeah, she isn't 18. Yes, she is a high schooler, but she isn't 18. So that's the reason why I'm not showing any clips from this movie, because you really think I want. You really think I want to show it on YouTube? No, I do not. So, yeah. But then we get a reveal that Ryan is actually an asshole, because he reveals he made a bet with someone that was basically, hey, have sex with this woman. And this angers Dawn, and her pearly whites in her region proceed to act up and bite off his dick. So yeah, Dawn gets up and leaves as we see Ryan use a machine to try and call up his mom, which okay, genuine question. If you were a parent and like you got like a call from your like 18 or older son telling you to come quick, it's an emergency, and when you come into his room, you see that like his dick has been ripped off. Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, do you just bust out the sewing kit, or do you just rush him to the hospital? I feel like the latter would be more responsible, but also the sewing kit would save so much money. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but yeah. Yeah. So as we can see, you could probably guess of what might happen to Brad. So, yeah. So we then get back to the hospital, where we see that thankfully the father is okay, and he actually reveals that Brad did nothing when he saw their mother collapse. So yeah, this obviously upsets Dawn, because that was her mother. So she goes back to the house to have her revenge. And you're probably thinking, what does she do? Does she stab him? Does she run him over? Does she proceed to do the dance of life with him? And if you guessed that option, you are correct. Wait, what's that sound? What? Oh wait, yeah, that's. Can you hear that? That's. Oh yes, it's the sound of. Oh yes, it's the sound of Sweet Home Alabama playing. And okay, look, I know they're step siblings, but still, just no. Yeah, and look, I know that's like popular on Pornhub, but still, no. So yeah, the two proceed to do the thing, and Brad happens to bring up the time where she bit his finger. But then the wheels in Brad's mind turn, and he starts to realize something. The teeth that bit his finger wasn't the ones in her mouth. In fact, they were the ones in her no-no square. And yep, that's right, it happens. His love rod gets completely bitten off. Now actually, this doesn't kill him, actually. And at the end of the movie, we're not really shown that he died, but it's basically, you're basically supposed to, okay, this is one of those scenes where you're supposed to, like, speculate Okay, did he die from bleeding out there, or did he not die from bleeding out there? And if you don't think it can get worse, well, she proceeds to get off the bed, let the detached rod fall out of her, and Brad's dog proceeds to eat it like a sausage. That's something that happened in this movie. And then Dawn leaves, deciding to go on her own and hitchhike, with the movie ending of her being in the car of a perverted old man, and it ends with her smiling at the camera, and yeah, this movie is yeah, this movie is a bit fucked up if you couldn't tell. Alright, so after all of that, this movie was released in 2007 and is loosely based off of something the director has heard about all the way back in 2007. Most of the characters, honestly, they're honestly really not that great. There's only a few characters that are actually good, so there's that. And also the ending, it's basically you're supposed to theorize, oh, did Brad die or did he not die? And honestly, look, it's fucked up. It's weird, but honestly, it's not horrible. There are worse movies out there. Like, it's not bad, but it's just... Look, all I'm going to say is if you do not like any of the topics that this movie happens to touch upon, then I don't really recommend watching this movie. But hey, if you like really fucked up things, then go right ahead, I guess. But yeah, that was 2007's Teeth, which actually turned 10 years old in 2017, and like I mentioned earlier, in 4 to 3 years, it's going to be 20 years old. So yeah, and that was Teeth. And also, I'm sorry if this little review retrospective thing. Okay, it's not really a review, it's just me talking about, like, a movie, even if that's technically a review. But okay, who cares? But, yeah, I'm sorry if this didn't seem that professional. I don't know, I just didn't really want to talk about this movie in detail, because honestly, it does have some things in it that make me uncomfortable for obvious reasons, but also it's just, you know, this movie obviously has a good amount of things in it that would get a YouTube channel suspended. Maybe if I'm lucky, a copyright claim, which would usually happen. But hey, you know, I'm really only showing like vague pictures and stuff. I'm not showing the full scenes, thank God. So yeah. So tell me your thoughts about this movie in the description below, and actually, I actually plan on talking about another odd horror movie, but thankfully this one, it's not on the same what the fuck level that this movie is on, but it is on a completely different what the fuck level, because it's definitely a really strange movie. So yeah, a video about rubber coming soon. And no, not the... You'll see eventually. So yeah, so anyways, that was it for this video. Make sure you all subscribe and like for more, and I'll see you all later. Peace out, home guards, and goodbye!